Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 robots cast. Let me just adjust the microphone a little bit here as we get going. In the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have got none other than VeTerran, becoming one of the frequently featured bots on this channel. VeTerran, aka VeTerran, aka VT, I think is what I landed on when it comes to casting it, because VeTerran is a bit of a mouthful. Whereas in the top right-hand side of the map, I hope it's pronounced Iris, but I guess it could be Eris? Iris? Because Iris is spelled I-R-I-S, whereas this is Eris, so I feel like I should know the answer to this, but, you know, we'll go with Eris, I think. It might change throughout the cast. But anyway, yeah, we've got a Zerg bot in the top right. The good old TVZ between these two bots. I do believe I've cast Iris before. I feel like I'm going to default to Iris. Yeah, it's good to see these bots play each other. TVZ is always a fun matchup to watch. Even when it does involve the bots, VT, VeTerran, does also produce some rather exciting games, as it seems to be a pretty well fleshed out bot. Now, ladies and gentlemen, though, before we get too far into this match, if you do enjoy seeing these bot matches commentated on this channel, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button. Let's try and hit 2,000 atmospheres worth of likes, but let's chop one of those zeros off, and then no, we'll chop two of those zeros off, and then we'll double it. So let's go for 40 likes. How about that? If we hit 40 likes on this video, that would be truly amazing. And then, of course, if you're new to the channel, you enjoy these kind of videos, go ahead and slap that subscribe button. And, yeah, join the Discord, which is also linked down below in the description. Alright, so, signature of VT is that it doesn't necessarily rush for an expansion. It's playing a rather normal but one base opening. Getting out the factory, getting out the fast reactor, not going for a Reaper or anything like that is a bit of a bold play, but in the end does seem to be fine. We'll see if it's going to be able to get some damage done. The last game we cast of VT was actually at taking on Ketrock's bot, and it showed us that cool Thor micro. That little bit of behavior, it probably won the game. So we'll see if we're going to see something similar to that in this match. For now, though, Iris gonna be going for just a lot of drones, queens, no third base or anything on the way. Just two base in it, pumping out the drones, getting the queenies on the way. And then, yeah, let's take a look at what else is going on as the starport finishes up for VeTerran. And it's actually going to be a medivac on the way. So we could be seeing a bit of an early game push coming from the Terran bot. Tank, medivac, not something that would usually be popular in an actual TVZ game. For those of you wondering why that is, that's because it's very easy for Zerg to scout a lack of a natural base. Now, Eris, I'm not sure if it has recognition for something like that, because of course it has seen at some point that there's no natural base. So I wonder if that's actually setting off alarm bells for Iris, because Iris is actually making a decent number of Zerglings. Not a huge amount, but definitely more than Zerg would make at this point in the game normally. So the bot does seem to be tipped off in some regards, so it's going rather defensive, getting up Spore Crawlers on the way, Roach Warren on the way, and then just lots of Lings being produced. So we'll see if these Lings are going to be able to get the engagement they need. I think with the Queen support they should be able to. Drones are already being pulled. That's a big commitment to the defense there by the Zerg bot, but with taking down that siege tank, first step in defending this is looking pretty good. The Lings are also running away, so dragging the attack away. And all in all, it looks pretty decent for Iris. Keeping in mind the command center for VT is quite a ways away from finishing up. And yeah, looks like this will be shut down. The Ling control seems to be quite unique by this bot. Like the Marines are trying to corner them, interestingly enough. This is some really cool behavior. Look at the Lings fanning out there as they run, as they're all individually controlled, trying to avoid the Marines. Now, though, look at that. They do actually find that Marine by itself and pick it off. So some really great Ling Ling decision-making here by Iris. Of course, it's a little bit derpy there, but it does seem to notice sectioned off units. So these Lings do seem to be programmed quite well in regards to when it comes to actually picking off units. And God, these Lings seem lively. Avoiding the Widowmine there was a decision by the bot. No decision making there to potentially throw the Ling at to detonate the mine and then kill the Ling, but that would be some rather advanced behavior to program. For now though, yeah, I'm really loving the Ling behavior by Iris, just picking off the Marines, getting away from danger and realizing that the auto turret isn't actually a threat, and then just continuously moving around the map and picking off units. But then when the threat's too large, retreating with these Lings. I'm loving this bot's behavior. I think I might have to cast some more Iris games after this one. Just to see. I think I've cast this bot before, but don't know if I've noticed the Ling behavior so much. Anyway, Iris, yeah, cruising at 15,000 APM, whereas VT is sitting at 5,000. A lowly 5,000 APM. Yeah. It is interesting, though, just the amount of APM that you actually have to use to program a successful bot, whereas human players actually just streamline that into a lot less actions. Yeah, now let's take a look here. We've got Combat Shield on the way for VT. No stim or anything, just like that. So +1 Combat Shield on the way. Making Marines and Medivac. No stim, though, is quite interesting. The Widowmines are cool from VeTerran. That is a staple of this bot. Might get an armory at some point, too, to make sure they stay cloaked. So I am curious to see how well Iris is going to deal with this. There's 20 more Lings on the way, but of course, if the Lings do eat a bad Widowmine shot, that'll be lights out for them. This group of Lings, though, is still running around looking for pickoffs. Almost finds that Marine, but decides to back off. Widowmine does not detonate. Iris keeping a Ling there to even scout these units. Look at that, just staying far enough away. Oh, the Ling behavior has clearly had some great detail put in by the developer of this bot. The way they behave. Queen's trying to save this Overlord as well, so Iris really showing some great behavior. There is a boatload of Lings now, though, potentially looking for a counterattack. The Lings are kind of running back and forth here, though. Seem to be unsure of what to do. The Widowmine does seem to be a bit of a threat that scares the Lings away. At some point, though, this bot is going to have to take a fight to commit against this army. Queens are doing a really great job defending and pushing away the army of VeTerran, though. That Widowmine, oh my gosh, does unburrow. An Overseer is now with the army, though, so it does seem that Iris isn't going to be taking any disastrous fights or making any horrible decisions against the Widowmines yet, I'll say. There's definitely still a chance, but then look at this. Hydra's on the way for the Zerg bot. Going to be moving away from that army, but then look at this. The Lings are getting a wraparound on the Marines. Going to be picking them off. Great behavior there. And then just continuing on their way. These Marines for VT did make it to the right-hand side of the map, hitting this 4th base attempt by the Zerg bot, which skipped this base. I'm not sure if something happened there. Lings are still looking for a counterattack. Widowmine does get a shot off, however. Lings putting pressure on. However, the Queen's coming forward. Hydra's coming forward. Saving that base. We're even seeing burrowed behavior start to get used by Iris, interestingly enough. Viking picks off the Overseer, nicely done by VT. Of course, if you're playing with Widowmines, you should pick off Overseers / Overlords. That's a great option too. Looks like Roach Burrow's on the way for Iris. There's even Nidus network that's been produced as well, which is quite curious. 1-1's on the way, so getting all the upgrades and everything going off the back of quite a strong economy. So really loving what I'm seeing from this Zerg bot. All the while, VT does have a 3rd base up, getting a 4th base on the way, so both these bots on healthy economies. A Fusion Core is on the way for VT. We've seen this bot produce those before, produce battle cruisers in the past. For now, though, no, I'm really enjoying watching the interactions between these two bots. The Ling just constantly running around, basically being a spotter to tag the Terran's army and then just keep vision on it constantly, it would seem. So great usage there. However, unfortunately, Ling cannot outrun a Hellion. Vikings being produced by VT does make you question how much anti-air the Zerg bot's going to have, because of course programming anti-air is not an easy thing for a bot developer. That's pretty clear. There is Hydras, there is Infestors on the way, actually, so we could potentially see Neural Parasite or Fungal being used. That could lead to some bot kills, so really seeing a lot of depth this bot game. We have had a fair few just rather simple and straight up bot matches that are kind of niche, but no, these two bots are showing a lot of depth facing off against each other. Eris macroing up, so is VT. The mass Viking production is interesting of VeTerran Terran, but it's natural to have that based off the fact that it's probably going to be going for battle cruisers with that fusion core finishing up. Blue Flames on the way as well for the Terran bots, so seeing this bit of a mixed composition. Yeah. Not gonna be playing bio or anything like that, or straight up bio anyway, although there is Stim and 1-1. Fifth base on the way for the Terran bot, all the while the Zerg sitting on 5, getting up 6 bases, so seemingly matching each other in expansions. The economy's pretty good for both bots. Looks like Iris gonna be going up to 100 drones or so. That's a rather healthy amount, or 94 at the minute. Now we take a look here, we see the Zerg bot going to be moving out on the map with its army. Of course, the LaughNgamez are constantly going to be a threat. Crows of Bile even getting used on the mines there. I'm not sure if that was used on the marker of the mine, but the mines are actually getting killed off here by the army. Looks like the Vikings out on the map and the Marines out on the map, but the Terran force does seem to be quite overwhelmed here. More Vikings, Hellions, a few Marines being produced, but really not that good of an answer against just such a bolsterous Zerg force. Auto turrets are getting tossed down by the Ravens, which is cool to see. We've even seen a Fungal get used by the Zerg bot. And the Zerg's units are kind of derping out a little bit here. Another great Fungal goes down by the Zerg bot, utilizing those Infestors, which are visible by that Raven. But as this skirmish goes all over the place, it really does look like this is going well for Iris. As VeTerran Terran is getting bullied a little bit. Vikings being worked away on by Hydras, Crows of Bile are getting dropped down and such by the Zerg bot. We are finally starting to see some battle cruisers on the way. It is going to be interesting to see how well Iris does react to this, but for now, though, I think the fights are going the way of the Zerg bot. Great siege tank shots are being used, though, as the tank is outside of the range of Iris's AI, it would appear. Ravagers harassing the 5th base while this is going on. We've got some Marines and a Hellbat attacking the 6th, but looks like Queens should be able to transfuse that. Hydra's Queens keeping this base alive, dropping the transfuse into it. Great usage there. These bots are also good at keeping units alive, it would seem. I mean, they get injured, they pull back, which is of course great behavior. For now, though, Iris does seem to be getting pushed back a little bit, so that's going rather well for VT. The tanks, of course, doing work as well. Crows of Bile's getting tossed on down, hits one of the tanks. Gotta be careful, those 3 tanks is definitely lethal. Battle cruisers are now starting to join into the fight. We'll see if the Infestors are going to be able to use their fungal growth appropriately, as there is no Neural Parasite. Hydras, though, working on the battle cruiser. It gets yoinked. It almost gets picked off. The Hydras did not finish it, though. Getting so close to it, but in the end, not quite. And yeah, the Hydras not quite focusing as well as they could be, but we definitely are going to need to see more to deal with these battle cruisers. Scan goes down to see the Infestors being pushed away. Hydras are going to do what they can against the battle cruisers. The 2-2 makes them quite effective, seeing as how the BCs have no upgrades. Nice Yamato cannon used on that Viper by VT, but yeah, this is looking a little bit problematic here for the Zerg bot, as fights do seem to be going the way of the Terran bots. For now, the battle cruiser also gets out, just barely does not get yoinked there by the Zerg bot. Another battle cruiser comes forward, gonna dump a Yamato cannon into an Infestor. The poor Infestor goes down like it's nothing. That battle cruiser just electing to waltz away as it was out of teleport there. The Zerg bot moving forward, still trying to get pickoff, utilizing the spells, I'll say rather well for a Starcraft 2 bot. This is actually just great behavior. Marines still doing pretty darn well, though, and the trades are not going the way of Iris completely. They're not going horrible. Resources lost within 2,000 of each other. This battle cruiser being worked on. It does not have teleport, but the retreat behavior is great by VT, keeping those battle cruisers alive so they can go back and be repaired on up. This one's so injured, but not being worked on there. This battlecruiser also challenging the Hydras. The +1 attack is now done for them, so that's going to help them out. Over 3-3 is about to finish for Eris, so that'll also be a factor this game. The Zerg bot has now been out expanding the Terran bot, which seems to be locked onto 5 bases. Notably, there's creep everywhere. This base still hasn't been taken. I really wonder what this is about. I don't believe there's a creep tumor in the way. So yeah, that's bizarre to me, why that location has not been taken. For now, though, we are seeing a battlecruiser go down, though, by Eris, picks off that BC, and supply is starting to drop for veteran Terran, so it has been bleeding out a little bit too much. Even though it's behind in resources lost, it just hasn't been producing enough, and the Zerg force able to pick off that one battlecruiser is showing a lot of prowess here. There's a bunker up for a VT, 1 Marine in it, SCVs can repair. Another battlecruiser will come forward, but without a critical battlecruiser count, without good upgrades on them, it's looking kind of rough here for VT. The supply down to 120 versus 200. The bank looking really healthy for Eris. The battlecruiser gets injured and retreats, and they're just not getting enough done in that time. Tanks, their siege not up, but Viper gets a great abduct off. Widow Mines are going to go on those clumped up Hydras on the ramp. The tank also getting some shots off, but there's still a lot of Zerg coming forward, and the Hellbats are not really what's needed here. The Hellbats will do well against the Lings, but the Hydras are still the big threat. Battlecruiser's going to come on in. There is Marines in a bunker, and this BC is doing work, so maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. The Hellbats did dispatch the Lings rather quick, and now there's just a handful of Hydras, so maybe VT can hold on, staying at that 120 supply. It's not quite as indicative supply counts when it comes to bot versus bot as opposed to human versus human, because of course bots aren't gonna bring all their supply together as efficiently, so there's sort of more room for supply discrepancy, not really matching what a fight you think should look like. We see there is more Hellbats out for VT. That's actually going to be important against the Lings. Actually, beautiful composition there. Widowmine on the ramp once again, gets a great shot off, hitting some of those units. Battlecruiser joins on into the fight, gets yoinked. We'll see if it's going to escape. Raven also gets yoinked. Battlecruiser gets yoinked again. Looks like it will go down. Great usage of the spells there by Eris, keeping that Battlecruiser count lower as the second one goes down. And interestingly for VT, not getting out any more, probably because it's so darn broke. And eventually veteran Terran is going to mine out before Eris, so if the game continues like this, it's going to be quite problematic. This time the Hydra Ball is looking a little bit larger on the doorstep of VT. We've got more tanks and such on the way, but the pickoffs have just been great by Eris. The spell usage is just impressive. Grabbing that tank, then the Infester's chilling as well. Beautiful, beautiful play there. And yeah, what a game. This has got to be like one of the highest level bot games I've seen, I feel, as far as depth goes. I'm loving the Zerg composition. I'm loving the Terran bot's composition. But in the end, VT really has not been able to get up that supply that it needs. The pickoffs have just been tremendous by Eris. The bank's just been growing, and the Terran never really stabilized. It makes you wonder if there was, say, a second of downtime where VT would have been able to build up supply. Then maybe it would have done better in fights with a more consolidated force. But then again, VT was out on the map looking for fights and such, so it's kind of its own fault that it did fall down so far in supply. Another battlecruiser is on the way out, but the upgrades just aren't going to make this one BC that effective, I don't think. Supply now down to 100 for VT. Looks like Eris will get the win after a little bit of time here. Veteran Terran eventually just was not able to hold on, it would seem. And while it's still mining a bit, it's getting tanks set up. Generally, the thing about bots is they're rather linear. They don't tend to have great comeback, and as their behavior remains constant for the most part. These Marines can do what they can, but generally it seems what they do is retreat best. Or what they do best is retreat. They're working against the Lings as well as they can. Great Blinding Cloud goes down, though, by the Zergbot. Widowmine fires on the Lings, so the tank may stay alive here. As I say that, though, another great Abduct goes down. The spell usage once again showing through for Eris. And yeah, I think we are just waiting for the death of veteran Terran here. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed this bot game. I sure did. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. Consider becoming a member, which is by using the join button, you can get various perks and such, or just support the channel. There's also the subscribe button. Join the Bell Gang if you made it all the way to the end of this bot video. And yeah, as VeTerran tries to hold the top of its ramp, but we just see it retreating against the Hydras. The Hydras do seem to do pretty good in the AI interactions against the Marines and such. And then we even see Eris taking this base. Just adding a little bit of insult to injury there. A VeTerran trying to hold on. Never giving up the good fight. Mutas are now on the way for Eris. I don't know if that's because it's seen a floating building or something, or it senses the beginning of the end. I really don't know why that is. Why the choice to make a couple of mutas now is actually really interesting. What the trigger for that was. Was it because it thinks its opponent's dead? And so that it thinks its opponent's going to drag out the game, or what? Or maybe it's because it's past the 20-minute mark or something like that. I don't think that would be it, but still, really interesting. And yeah, let's wait for the end here. Even the end of this game is quite interesting, though. Take the Zerg a while to break through. We did never see a Nidus room, even though a Nidus network was built, which is a bit of a bummer, but who knows, maybe another game with Eris. I would love to see that. Queen's now in the main base of VT, supply down to 17. And that's all she wrote.